Let's get into some climate change news. We have tropical depression or tropical storm, or I don't know. It's been called many things in the last couple of days. Cristobal is heading towards Louisiana. Let's see. I thought there was an actual map on here. The Gulf Coast has all eyes on Cristobal with the storm strength and where it might hit likely to become clearer by Saturday morning. Storm surge and tropical storm watches will likely be issued for a portion of the U.S. Gulf Coast later today, the National Hurricane Center said Friday morning. The latest forecast track has Tropical Depression Cristobal, the third named storm of this already active hurricane season, moving ashore across the U.S. Gulf Coast as soon as Sunday afternoon or night, anywhere from East Texas to the Florida Panhandle. It looks like flooding will be the greatest threat from the storm and could occur over a wide area from Texas to Florida. So everybody's keeping an eye on that. Of course, with the much warmer waters in the Gulf Coast, and warmer temperatures overall, air and sea, these storms can really accelerate into really large storms very quickly. And so that's a good reason to keep an eye on this storm, because if you remember over the last couple of years, we've had storms that were just off the coast and they were like, oh, we don't know what's going to happen. It's a tropical storm. It's maybe a small hurricane, and all of a sudden, bam, it turns into a Category 4 or 5 hurricane overnight. So, still a couple days before we find out exactly what happens with that. I don't know if anybody's really heard about this. I haven't seen anyone else talking about this. Putin declares state of emergency after massive fuel leak pollutes river in the Arctic Circle. Russian President Vladimir Putin has declared a state of emergency in the Siberian city of Norilsk after a massive fuel leak spilled into a river. Environmentalists call it one of the worst ever seen in the Arctic. The accident took place last week when a reserve fuel tank from a local thermal power plant leaked more than 20,000 tons of diesel Friday, coloring nearby rivers crimson red, but caught the attention of federal authorities days later. The plant's parent company, a metals giant, Norilsk Nickel, has suggested that the accident occurred due to thawing permafrost that led to the sinking of the supporting posts under the tank. Everything that's built on permafrost is now on a movable bed of, shifting earth. And so nothing is secure anymore. In many northern countries and northern areas of places like Russia, during a televised conference Wednesday, Putin criticized the company for failing to report and react promptly to the incident. Norilsk Nickel issued a statement saying that the incident was reported timely to the emergency services shortly after the spill had been recorded by the plant. It said that copies of the report have been sent to law enforcement agencies. Okie doke. Not good news. In Russia. But interesting that this came from a thermal plant, right? I don't know exactly how this plant operated, but hold on, I'm looking up thermal power station. A thermal power station is a power station in which heat energy is converted to electric power. In most, a steam-driven turbine converts heat to mechanical power as an intermediate to electrical power. Water is heated, turns into steam, and drives a steam turbine, which drives an electrical generator. How is the water heated? Is it heated with just gas or coal or fuel? It just burns fuels. Okay, so just a regular old power station. um, there's part of that my mind is trying to actually comprehend as being you're just burning fuels to make power. But why would you burn fuels to heat water that then in turn made power? Like, why don't you just burn the fuels? Is anybody else with me here on the inability to comprehend what this is about? Creative Experiment says Exxon be like Perma who? Cornholio said, I heard the plant waited 2 weeks to report the leak. It sounds like it. It sounds like it happened a while ago, right? But yeah, and many other countries, it's environmental regulations or environmental, environmental catastrophes, regulations, etc. How they control damage or report damage is, even worse than the United States, which is not saying much. So, who knows what the protocols are for something like that in Russia? Have no idea. What is a thermal plant? Yeah, I just read that, and it doesn't make sense to me, right? If you just burn gas to make energy, but they're saying that you burn gas to heat water, and the water makes energy. It's just like, whatever. It's all just really fancy ways to burn energy and to make money and to keep industrial civilization going. All right, here's more good news, and by good news I mean terrible news. Last month was the hottest May on record. Hottest May meaning last month was the hottest May on record as the world creeps closer to a dangerous threshold, whatever that might be. Does that mean 1.5? Does that mean 2C? Does that mean we admit that it's already 2C? What does that mean? What's the threshold? Does that mean I thought 350 was a threshold? We're now at 418. Does that mean 450? What's the threshold, guys? Tell us, please. Nobody knows. Last month was the hottest May on record worldwide. A European Climate Agency has reported, with temperatures in Siberia rising 10 degrees Celsius or 18 degrees Fahrenheit above their normal levels. That is just, that's 10 degrees Celsius or 18 degrees Fahrenheit. That's wild. Globally, so Siberia is already at 10C, above their normal levels, waiting for the rest of the planet to catch up. Globally, May was 0.63 degrees Celsius warmer than the average May between 1981 and 2010, making it the warmest May in this data record, the Copernicus Climate Change Service said. And when compared with pre-industrial figures, their recordings indicate that the world is creeping dangerously close to the temperature threshold that international organizations warn would be so devastating to the planet if exceeded. The Copernicus figures correlate to a 1.26 degrees Celsius rise on pre-industrial levels for May. Okay, so, hey, are they admitting that we're not at 1C or 1.1, which is what everybody is really trying to tell us? That's how we're being gaslit. We're at about 1 or 1.1, but we really don't want to get to 1.5, guys. That's the messaging that keeps happening from, all the media, mainstream media, whatever they want to tell you the scientific consensus is. The Copernicus figures correlate to a 1.26 degrees Celsius rise. So we're according to them, we're much closer to 1.5. Global temperatures must be kept from rising above 1.5 degrees Celsius on those levels to avoid major impacts on the climate. The United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, has concluded. May's increase follows a clear trend recorded by Copernicus over the past year. In the last 12-month period up to May, global temperatures were 0.7 degrees Celsius warmer than average. matching the previous year-long high between October 2015 and September 2016. May's increase follows a clear trend, right? It's a clear trend. Europe generally was slightly colder than average, but with sharp geographical differences. The report said the most striking spike was in Siberia, the typically freezing region that spans much of Russia, which was up 10 degrees Celsius on average levels. That has got to frighten you right out of your socks. Russian President Vladimir Putin has this week ordered a state of emergency in the Siberia city of Norilsk. I just read that. 2/3 of Russia sits on permafrost, which is degrading rapidly, puncturing places with giant sinkholes. What do you do? How do you rebuild your infrastructure? If you're Russia, 2/3 of Russia sits on permafrost. How do you rebuild your infrastructure? How do you brace technologically for climate change? I have no idea. It follows a remarkably warm winter in Russia, which would usually be blanketed in snow at the start of the year. Instead, it saw the hottest winter in the 140-year history of meteorological observations, beating the previous temperature record from the winter of 2015-16 by 1.3 degrees Celsius. The country's state-run Hydrometeorological Center of Russia reported in March. Yeah. Not so good. Not so great. Let's move on. We're getting all of this news in, guys, while we can. I'm going to go a little bit over time today. This is a good tweet by Jason Hickel. When I first encountered communities where people see non-human beings, trees, animals, rivers, as kin or relatives, I thought, that's a bit of a stretch. Now, as I watch the convulsions of ecological collapse, I wonder how we ever had the hubris to not see the world that way. All right. I see you're experiencing some enlightenment, Jason Hickel. That is good. Good tweet below it. Correct, an evolution to biocentric living will make humans fitter for the natural environment. Ultimately, there's no other choice. And ultimately, there is no other choice. We don't have a choice. We really don't have a choice in how we respond to this. I mean, we're gonna debate it, and we're gonna throw up a lot of different ideas. We're already trying to tell people that the only choice is green capitalism, right? Oh my God, Planet of the Humans. Oh my God, we can't. Whoops, excuse me. We can't possibly let people understand that converting all the technology to renewables is might leave a lot to be desired. Human says Planet of the Humans is available again. Awesome. Is it available on YouTube? I wonder. Yeah, there was about 6 or 7 days there where they were down. The movie was down. Yeah, so I mean, there's this huge backlash against the film Planet of the Humans, which basically brought the doomosphere into the mainstream consciousness, and they did not like that, because it's all fine and well if you want to be doomers and understand that we're very close to ultimate collapse because of climate change. I mean, it's fine if you want to talk about that on some corner of the internet or on some little small YouTube channel, but if you let 8 million people understand how dire the situation is, and that the answers that they want to give you are not the answers, on Michael Moore's channel. Okay, good to know. Right, if you let people know that, then oh my God, we can't have that. And the backlash to all of this has been pretty severe. I mean, it's wild. when I was talking about the tweet that Michael Moore sent out when he was saying that he wanted to find somebody to host his movie. I mean, all the responses were like, why don't you fix your movie? Why don't you take all the misinformation out of there? Oh my God, I'm so glad it was taken down. I mean, like, I don't know if these people were trolls. I don't know if they were paid accounts. I don't know. But apparently a lot of people have drunk the Kool-Aid, have seen all the mainstream backlash, and, have totally eaten it up. And they're like, yeah, they're bad. They're so wrong and the reason why they're willing to do that, or it's easily done, is because humans want to believe that, everything is going to be all right with humans because we said so, right? It's very human-centric. It's very speciesist. And we like to wrap human centricity up in a layer of humanism, right? So if you posit that humans might have to curtail their activities or anything, or consider the possibility of overpopulation as a problem or overconsumption as a problem, if you bring up any of those issues, oh my God, you're not a humanist. Well, the Earth isn't really a humanist either. We're here on the good graces of the planet. The planet gives us things for us on which we can survive. But if we overshoot those resources, if we destroy the planet, if we take advantage of this paradise that we've been given in which we live, then those things will be taken away from us. And, again, the Earth doesn't care about your human rights. The Earth doesn't care about your humanism. The Earth doesn't care about all your constructs that you made up about, oh my God, we can't, that's anti-human. Yes, right. If you are a civilization that, enters a period of overshoot, or, there's too many people, there's not enough food, and people perish, that's called life. I know that really sucks. But that's called reality. That's called the way the world works. It's called balance. It's called the universe. It's called life. That's how it works. Those are the rules. And so, people want to see those rules as somehow like anti-human, or, it's not humanist. And, anyways, so, it's good to be humanist for other humans to care about other humans. There's nothing wrong with that. But to understand that humans, or to think or to assume that humans are the greatest and the best, and everything that we do is perfect and wonderful and good and well-meaning and deserving of more life, or deserving of consideration. If only we lived in a humanist way, then the Earth would take care of us. There's a bit of a lack of understanding in that. There's a gap in perception in that. And obviously, this is a big subject, and it's something that we talk about here every single day. This is why this channel exists. It's a place where people can freely express themselves around this subject. Schulte 100, people perish, that's just life, baby. No gaslight either, right. Troy McDermott asks, why would Moore want a gravity engine? I don't know. Yeah, so, Michael Moore and the crew, Jeff Gibbs and Ozzy Zenner, have, they're proposing that we engage in degrowth. And they had a good podcast. Michael Moore just had a really good podcast on his Rumble podcast with Jeff Gibbs and Ozzy Zenner. I suggest you listen to it because they talk about these problems in depth, and so much good information in here. But I'm going to play you just a little clip of their talk, and I suggest I highly suggest you go check out this, this episode of Rumble.
This desperate attempt to make anything work, rather than face reality, that we're hitting limits. And when you say hitting limits, explain that. What limits? Limits, fossil fuels are not going to last forever, and even if they do, burning them at this level is destroying us, and the only way to burn less of them is actually this thing called burning less of them. The purity of the ores that we're mining have been going down and down. These materials are not going to last forever. Right now, we're in a biodiversity collapse. There's 1 million species that are endangered, according to the UN. And they say, we've used, one study showed that most of the major aquifers on this planet that we draw water from for our cities and for agriculture are being over-depleted. Half the topsoil in recent decades, I think over the last century or so, is gone.
Yeah, so just a little excerpt from that talk. It's called Rise of the Planet of the Humans. As much as I enjoyed the film, I actually enjoy the conversations around the film. I don't know what's going on with my mic. The many podcasts that I've seen around the film or conversations, more in-depth conversations of the specifics of what they're talking about, I find those to be just as enlightening and entertaining as anything else. So go check that out. What? So was somebody suggested I interview Trump? I don't know why I would even begin to interview Trump, or even if that's even within the realm of reality on it. Why is Moore a coward? I don't understand, Troy. I don't understand. Moore has no clean, constant energy engine for his home to attack CC. Well, I don't know. Does anybody have a clean, constant energy engine? I'm kind of not really understanding your questions, and I apologize. I'm not really getting your standpoint a little bit. Excuse me. Human says Michael Moore will not say there isn't hope. And I won't say there isn't hope. I don't know if you have got that or not from this channel, but I understand we're in a really bad place, and so does Michael Moore and Jeff Gibbs. They all understand, we're in a really bad place. But I wouldn't say that we're not out of hope until we're not here anymore. Or I'm not out of hope. I'm not out of hope until I see actual ecological, the final kind of collapse stuff happening. Human says XR does not speak of ending but of adaptation. Yes, well that's because they're trying to figure out a way. I mean, you could say it's all hopium, and you could say that it's naive or whatever it might be, but again, let me just say this. You might think, a lot of people might think that we have 2 years or 5 years, whatever it might be, but what if we don't know exactly how the Earth is going to respond? We don't know if we could get some kind of magic window of extra time What if the universe grants us an extra 10 years or 15 years? And you sat around saying, well, that's it, it's over. And you didn't spend that extra 10 years, working on a solution or working on adapting or, awareness or creating a space for us to figure this out. Are we most likely done? Yes. Yeah, I mean, you can't really not accept that, but I also can't not accept that that doing everything we can is not the way to go, right? Sitting around going like, that's it, it's all over. Like, I'm not here to satisfy your doom porn. I'm sorry to tell you that. If you think I'm just here to, make videos for you to go, here we go, it's over the falls, we're all done. Like, I'm not here for that. And if that's what you want out of this channel, then you're in the wrong place. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to be aware of the truth and communicate the truth to you. That doesn't mean that I'm going to, obfuscate around what reality is in order to fit my vision of hopium or whatever that might be. I'm just saying, the reality is this, and we're still here. The reality is that we're still here. We're still here. So, just before I go, let me just give you this. Let me just give you this anecdote, I guess, if you will. 5 years ago, I was watching a lot of channels, and they were like, "Here we go, the economy is about to blow up. It's all over this, this February or this September or this October. Everybody buy silver and get your, take your cash out of your accounts and, get ready because here comes the end." That was like 5 years ago, right? How many years ago did Guy McPherson start saying, this is it, this September, it's all over? So, look, it's 5 years later, and, yeah, there's weird shit going on, but as far as, like, civilization goes, we're in relative normalcy. Relative. We haven't collapsed yet 5 years later. So I'm saying you could say that it's all over and we're done and God damn it, don't ever talk about any solutions whatsoever. Okay. Because it's all over. And then what if we're sitting here in 2032 in relative normalcy while you motherfuckers were spent the last 12 years going, it's all over. That's it. Don't try. I mean, that's insanity to me. So whatever. And I called you motherfuckers because really, like, the doom porners, I'm just not, I get your standpoint and all that, but I'm just not really into, I'm not here to satisfy your doom porn needs. And, if you want to be mad that I have any kind of hope, then, be mad here or be mad somewhere else. I really don't care. Creative Experiment says McPherson was surprised and thinks global fires are shielding us from the sun. Well, yeah. Do you hear what I'm saying? Are you understanding what I'm saying? You don't know what kind of processes come into play. We know the trajectory that we're on. We can see, this trajectory and look into the future and go, okay, this is probably where we're going to go, right? I can do that. We can all do that. But, like, you don't know what kind of processes are going to unfold as climate change progresses. So you don't know if we're going to get some kind of a reprieve or not. If like acting surprised for 5 years in a row. Oh, I thought it was going to be this year. Oh, here we are. What if you're acting surprised for 15 years? Then I'm going to call you a fucking idiot because you had 15 years to try and fucking do something. Like, at that point, you're a fucking fool. Because I thought you're like the prepper, sitting in their like bunker with all your stuff, right? And you started prepping in 1985, and you were just sitting down there going, here we go, here comes the end, here comes the apocalypse, 1985. 30 years later, like the whole world is, there's been a whole generation of shit happening. But you were sitting in your bunker going, here we go. Like, what are you, come on, man. Jay Ackert, it's over, but I'd still love to dismantle capitalism and humanism. Right. I mean, live as if the end is nigh. There's nothing wrong with that. But I mean, if you're gonna get stuck there, and if you're gonna use that excuse that the end is nigh to not take any action or to not give a shit, or not lift a finger or not care or not listen to anything that's happening or not involve yourself in changing your own life or changing other people's lives, like, I kind of find it a little bit lazy, and I find it a cop out. I think it's a little bit of a cop out, because I don't care whether the end is next year or 10 years from now. If you're not trying to do something, enlighten, inform, change your own life, change other people's lives. If you're not trying to do something, then I don't know. I don't know what that's about. I really don't know what that's about. Anyways, sorry, little end of video rant there. I just, and there's a good chance that everything could fall apart this year. I'm aware of that. I'm not like I'm not going to deny that, who knows? Who knows when the final collapse is here? Who knows? Schulte 100. Yep, that's the only ones I got too. Rich Diana says not giving a shit is a really low footprint. Yeah, but I mean, it's actually, the thing is that, I think that some people can, if you're like, that's it, we're done, and I might as well just live it up, live my life and do all the things and enjoy industrial civilization. I don't know. I think that there's honor in trying to do your best to bring less damage to the universe or to the planet. There's honor in that. So do your best. Just do your best. Do your best to not bring more damage to the planet. Hey guys, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. You can also support the channel at the links below: PayPal, Square, and Patreon. Also, all of my live streams are available for listening on Patreon if you happen to miss them during the day. So you can sign up for my Patreon for as little as $1. If you want to go check out the live streams, they are all there. Thanks a lot.